AI is going to take over the world. It can't remember the images that it made 10 minutes ago.
Oh, thanks for this. Have you tried clearing your cookies?
I'm going to clear somebody else's cookies here.
Like, what is the purpose in having me click work versus chat?
That's so dumb.
Who does those types of settings?
Your middle child and I were really excited because you could create your own emojis. Oh, that's not coming out until like November. And I was like, liars. M. Cook, you lied to me. Because if you watch the keynote that it set, it made it sound like it was going to be there. And
that's when I like screenshot the images and I'm like, right here. Hi, and welcome to Learning Out Loud. I'm Dr. Brandi Robinson, the owner and founder of Learner Journey Labs.
I'm Sarah Fuselier, Chief Chaos Coordinator, among other things, here at Learner Journey Labs.
So this week has been fraught with tech issues. When you're a tech company, you are unfortunately at the mercy of the technology that you use. And so this week, I was going to talk some about the challenges that we've had with the technology and then how we have overcome it, pivoted, leveraged tech support. There have been many emails sent between me and OpenAI that were, borderline a little fussy. But just wanted to be super candid in today's episode about the fact that it's not all sunshine and roses when you're using artificial intelligence, technology, computer programming. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong.
And also add to that, remote, trying to help people who are geographically very far.
Yeah, that's a great point because we are a remote distributed workforce. So Sarah is geographically close to me.
Right.
But we've got people in Tennessee, Mississippi, all throughout the U.S. And we also, I think another layer of the challenge is we tend to work different hours. So we have a very flexible schedule. So I might be on at 11 or midnight because I tend to work very odd hours. When an idea hits me is when I'm working. Mm-hmm. But other people work afternoons, some people work mornings. And so there's kind of a distributed workforce and a very distributed schedule that we're trying to communicate across.
Definitely. And I think that is also a huge struggle is the different hours. I know we struggled with that a lot last summer when we had, 11 or 13 contractors.
Yeah.
And I was trying to project manage and we had everybody from Pacific time zone to Eastern. And then Sharon would just go to Europe. And that just added a whole nother thing.
Yeah, Sharon, she sent me a cruise today, a 24-day cruise in February that I should go on. And I was like, who has 24 days, Sharon?
Who wants to be stuck on a boat for 24 days? I don't want to be stuck on a boat for 4 days.
Well, so it is only 8 days to Europe, and the rest of it's cruising around Europe and getting off in ports.
No.
But Sharon is Sharon. She's like me. She's going to bring her laptop, and she's going to work, and then she's going to do a few hours or something, and then she's going to go back to work.
Yeah.
So,
but you're still stuck on a boat.
But the time zone thing gets super challenging when we're all traveling too, mm-hmm. because I'll work whenever we do Christmas vacations on the boat. And then I'm trying to figure out where are we at? Because in the Caribbean, you could be in one of 4 time zones, depending on where you are that day.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a challenge with that. And we do utilize Slack. So we do have a Slack internal messaging system. That is kind of how we communicate. We also have some international team members that work with us. And so having Slack is really useful. But you sometimes, because of the hours we work, we lose that ability to hop on a call live and be okay, show me what's happening. Because by the time we see it, they might no longer be at their computers.
Right. We might be sleeping when they're having the issue. And then when we're awake, they're sleeping or the issue has been resolved.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we're pretty good about at the core is we have them share threads. So our core team is really good about if you're having an issue, screen report it. If the issue is related to the Learner Journey Labs, share the thread so that we can look at it and then kind of get help or troubleshoot it. And so that is a benefit that we have, but it does make it challenging because I'll get the share thread, then I have to investigate it, then I have to kind of figure it out. Then I have to send a screen reporting of how to fix it to the person. So there can be time lost in translation. And so I think one of the habits that we're really good about, you and I both, is that we always have a back burner of stuff we can do.
Right.
So like for me this week, images went down completely. If you used OpenAI, images have just been a hot mess for API users and for standard users. There's just been a lot of updates coming through. And so there were several days where it's like, I'm making my asset. I cannot get anything to generate an image. I getting like PowerPoint slides with kindergartner stick figures. Then they're like, that is your image. And I'm like, no, it's actually not.
Well, then it was really weird for me because I was one of the few people on our team that the images were working for. And I was like, yes, no trouble over here. And I was thinking, well, it's probably because I haven't generated images in forever. And so I was like, well, maybe it's people's memories. Maybe their threads are just like, nope, you've done too much. Because we did also have a team member end up in timeout. So I felt really excited for me that it was working and bad. But then I got humbled today. I was making images and they made great images, but they weren't in the colorway that we're using in this course. So I had it correct them to the correct colorway. And then that's when it gave me the kindergarten images. And I was like, sir, because I'm being more mean to it, like you said to do, but like I usually start with like sir. And I don't know if we've talked about this before, but one time I saw something on Instagram where it was like people in the South talk to their computers or talk to their dogs like they're people, and that also can go to like technology. And it's true because I'll be like, no sir, which is what I would say to my dog or my cat. But I'm like, sir, that's the wrong colorway. And it's like, oh, you're right, let me do this. And then it gave me the kindergarten stuff. And I was like, no, you were supposed to take the image that you had and change the colorway. Again, like, don't be dumb.
And mine has been doing this weird thing. And this is where I had to loop in support because I kept asking it, like, why do you keep doing this? Because I was trying to get it to like self-diagnose or troubleshoot itself. And it's like, I'm making these style of images because I'm confused on whether I'm creating a new image or I'm supposed to edit an image and I can't find an image to edit. And like this happened repeatedly in multiple threads. And I would be like, you're not editing an image. So then I thought maybe it was like my prompt or my skill that I had set up. And it's like, you know, by the end of it, that was when I finally reached out to support because I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like the prompt says create 4 new images. Like, I don't know why this is like such a confusing problem for you. And then sometimes it wouldn't even make the kindergarten images. Sometimes it would just say, I can't find the reference image to edit with. Yeah. And that's when I was like, okay, this is not like a user-based problem. Like this is a, you know, what we're being powered by with OpenAI is problematic right now because I even tried sending it through the API keys on the back end, which totally avoids the front end of OpenAI, and I still got back kindergartner stuff. So I was like, this is your problem and not my problem at this point.
It was interesting because when I said you changed the images instead of just changing the colorway, it was like, yes, but I don't know what images you're talking about now. And I'm like, dude, like scroll up. I want to be like scroll up. Yeah. And it was like, once you provide me with the images, I can change the colorway. And I was like, you just made them like 10 minutes ago. Why do I have to provide it again? Like,
yeah, that's when I like screenshot the images and I'm like, right here.
Yeah, I just downloaded them really quick and then I edited them, or uploaded them into the chat. And I was just like, this is dumb. This is real dumb. And that's again, when people are like, AI is going to take over the world. It can't remember the images that it made 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, 100%. So it's been a tough week. And like, I would say, so like we had trouble with images. I think it went pretty good on Friday, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was half and half on Friday. But like Thursday was the day when I was the only one that could get them to work.
Well, and I think mine worked on Thursday, but mine didn't work on Wednesday. But I was like, it's fine. I have to write video scripts. So I just kind of like pivoted. And I think an interesting point of conversation here is that when it's going wrong, you don't invest hours.
Correct.
In trying to like fix it. Like that was, we had a team member who spent like a really long time and they were like, I've been trying to get these images for like 2.5 hours. And I'm like, why? Like after 30 minutes, just pivot let us know. Let us see if let us try to troubleshoot it. Like, don't spend hours on it because like it's outside of our control when something's happening. And a lot of times, like, I'll check the status of OpenAI or I'll check the status of whatever other key we're using, and it's down. And so you just have to like do something else for however long. But when you're having those types of tech issues, especially with like AI and generative AI, having something that you can just be like, hey, this is what's happening. I'm going to go work on this other thing that I don't need this for.
Yeah. And I wasn't having issues really on Friday either, but I felt like it was as slow as a turtle. And so when I was waiting, there were some things needed to be done and people who hadn't done the things that needed to be done yet. So I was connecting them with some of my semi-chaotic training videos and or with each other because I thought like two things needed to be done with the same information. And I thought half of it had been done so we could start on the other half. Well, it turns out the first half hadn't been done. So I was like, okay, you do this part, you do this part. Let me know when you're done.
Yeah.
So I was coordinating all of that while I waited rather than just sitting there.
Yeah. And I think it's super frustrating when the tech isn't working. And like, that's what I don't get. Cause like, I don't ever spend 2 hours trying to troubleshoot.
No.
Like I spend like, I'll usually go about 20 minutes and I'm like, I'm done with you. Like, I'll come back later. Like, I'm just going to leave, walk away, try something else. Like, I mean, granted, I always have like 500 tasks sitting on my plate.
Right.
That are all like just spread over different types of things. So it's really easy for me to pick something up. But I think that that's something that like, as people are getting more and more into this space using technology, or even like Articulate Storyline now has AI embedded within it. And they had an outage last week. And it was like people were on like LinkedIn and things and they were like, oh, I've been trying to get this to work for hours. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to work in educational technology and artificial intelligence and learning, like you got to learn to just let it go and let other people fix it and figure it out.
Well, and it's not even just AI. It was, what was it, the end of May, right around exam time here in the New Orleans area, that Canvas went down.
Yeah.
And some of the schools couldn't even do anything.
Yeah.
And then, like, I know one of my friend's daughters, her exam got pushed back like an entire week because they couldn't get into Canvas that morning, so nobody could take the exam. And then by the time Canvas was up and running that afternoon, it was too late. So they scheduled it like an entire week later. Or even silly things like my son's school relies on the internet, like the bell schedule, the clocks, everything are tied into the internet. And so one day, somehow, there was road work or something happened, or a storm, and their internet went out for like a day and a half. And that's when my son apparently played poker in his computer app class, because there was literally, like, they did what they could, but they were reviewing for exams, and half of his textbooks are online.
Yeah.
So the classes he could do stuff, he could do, but like his computer applications course, it was all online. And apparently he bought a pack of cards at some point, and I didn't even know we had regular playing cards.
Went analog.
And literally played poker with some of his classmates and one of the teachers. And I was like, well.
And I think what happens though is I think a lot of people just default to that it has to be me.
Right.
Like the problem has to be me. And like a lot of times it's not. Like if you haven't subscribed to status updates, if you're using an AI provider, whether it's Gemini, whether it's Claude, whether it's whoever, subscribe to those. And then also places like Cloudflare, because when Cloudflare goes down, same thing. Any provider that's online that uses that, they're all down. So kind of my first troubleshooting step is like, okay, this isn't working. So let me check the status everywhere. Right. And let me just see like if it's a status issue. Because if that's the issue, then I can't, like, there's no point in doing anything. Like I'll pivot to an administrative task or something else because I have to wait for somebody else to fix it.
Right. Which is frustrating too, because I think we're a go, go, go society and nobody really likes, well, I guess some people probably do. You and I tend to not like taking breaks like in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Especially like while we'll work at night, but we also enjoy our family time at night. So we're trying to get everything done so that way once our kids are done with their activities, homework, etc., or school for your girls, we can sit there and watch. So I get frustrated, but I think usually, and I'm usually a persistent person, 5-10 minutes, I give up. I ask you if it's an outage, and you're like, yeah, it's an outage. And then again, I move on to something administrative.
Yeah.
Or if on the rare chance I don't have anything, I just relax for a while because you can't get worked up. You can't get stressed.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge part of like, so there's a mental health side of like how techie we've gone into society. And I think that people are becoming more easily frustrated. And that is coming into play with like job satisfaction and things like that, because
we're so dependent.
Yeah, we're so dependent upon that tech that when it goes down, like, hey, it's okay to like check your email, or like a lot of times I'll brainstorm like the next thing that I want to do and just kind of like spend some time casually thinking it out. If I don't have something that like I can do, or I might do quality control, or I might do other things like that too. But I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, okay, if you don't have anything to do, like what's something you could learn about that would help you in your job? Like go online and go on like Skills Build, or go online and take like a thing, watch a YouTube course, like still job related, but like spend some professional development time instead of just sitting there getting like increasingly angry about like what's going on.
Because then once it comes up, you're too mad to even do the task well, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it just impacts your entire day. And like with my doctoral students, one of the things I do, because I teach classes at night with them, like most of my students are educational leaders. So they're principals, they're district leaders. And like, let's be honest, their day kind of stinks most of the time. Like there's always a crisis at school. There's just so much for them to like put out of their mind to get in a mindset where they can actually learn. And so I always open my class with like, what is something positive personally or professionally that we can celebrate? And so it's like open, everyone doesn't have to respond, but usually like between like 7 to 10 people respond. And like, it's just, you can just like watch the tension like melt off of people because it's just taking you out of that frustrated mental space. And you're just kind of like, oh, that is positive. Like someone had a grandbaby, someone had a birthday. And that's why I do like personal or professional.
Right.
Because just reframing your mindset, I think, is so important, especially in the field of education. Like you cannot teach or create.
Right. And I think educators at their heart are all caregivers. So even if I haven't had anything to celebrate in the past week, if I find out somebody had a grandbaby or it was somebody's birthday, I'm going to, even if it's just a classmate, peer-to-peer relationship, I'm going to be excited for that person or happy for that person. And that will relieve some of my stress as well.
Yeah, and I think it's one thing we do a fair amount within our team. Like sometimes people get really annoyed with those of us that are on a team because we are so used to asynchronous communication that like, when something's down with us because like we're going like zinging back and forth, like sending memes, sending like funny messages, like what did you do this weekend? Here's this picture of my family doing this wild thing. Because I do think that like that's a really big strength for the core team is that like we all communicate and we try to share and we try to like be excited for each other. And I think that makes us like stronger.
Right. Because you have to create that climate and culture, which is really hard when everyone's so far away, because it's not like, the days of meeting at the water cooler for a minute or at the coffee pot, those aren't there for us.
Yeah.
So you've got to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And which can be hard to do. So, and I know some people on our team aren't as open as you and I are, but I think they're getting there.
I think so. I mean, it's kind of been interesting because we've added some new people to the team recently. And just for like kind of context. So we have like our messaging, our company messaging, and like we will share there during the day. But like we also have like multiple group like text threads.
Right.
So like there's those of us that like are moms and like we'll send pictures of our kids. Like even if it's on the weekend, like we're doing something with our kid, Sarah will share the videos of like B golfing at each hole with us.
Or like the live scoring link a lot of times, which has been fun because somebody on the team that I had friction with previously, which I think looking back was all kinds of misunderstandings, and neither one of us were in a great spot that day or week. But she's become one of the biggest supporters. Mm-hmm. And so I'll send her the link and she's excited. Mm-hmm. And so it's become something to bond. And then I've been asking, questions about what her children are involved in, because they're, or relating, like one of her children is into theater, and one of Bee's best friends is in theater. So we were talking about that.
Yeah. And I think we try to be very aware of the human side, you and I both.
Correct.
I think that's definitely a strength for how we both lead. While I don't love the general population of people in general, we talk about the general population, and I'm also pretty introverted. Mm-hmm. But I still want to know what's up with your kids. Here's this thing with my kids. My kids will do stuff and they're do not text that in your group chat.
Well, and it's funny because even your children will ask me.
Yeah.
Especially the youngest, because sometimes she's out the box, y'all.
Did you get a text message with her reading out my birthday pens and what they say?
No.
Oh, we let her say the words, and it's on video.
That's funny. No, I got the text saying that you love them, and especially the one about being too close. And then
it was if you're reading this pen, you're standing too close. And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah, but her lack of grammar and spelling in text messaging left me really confused because, okay, so context. Brandi has fun, sparkly pens that say random phrases that can include choice language.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
And so
I will also say it's very creative choice language.
It is.
Because it's not phrases you would typically say.
So her birthday is this week. Her youngest sent me a text message one day last week and was like, this is what really got me, is she said she was going to ask Bobby, but when she asked Bobby, he never follows through. So she asked if I would go on Etsy and order the things, and she told me what she wanted to say. She sent me the seller and all of the things, and she also clarified that she got permission to use the choice language, which I was like, I'm not the choice language police for you. Mm-hmm. So it was really funny. And then so yesterday she sent me a message, and I thought they had come in already because she said that you liked them, and I was like, I never got the tracking or the update from the Etsy seller, but I was like, okay,
yeah,
maybe they ended up in my junk, spam, maybe I accidentally deleted them. Who knows? But apparently she just couldn't hold it in anymore and had to tell you.
Yeah, we went to Acme for our dinner because I was really wanting, they have this marinated shrimp, the grilled shrimp. Have you heard of the grilled shrimp there?
I have not.
It's got it's a very little bit of spice with some tang. It's an Aussie type marinade. So I was really feeling that yesterday. So I was like, let's go to the jewelry place because we had to get some rings resized. And then I was like, I really want to do Acme. And then they were like, they wanted Zia's. And I was like, I don't want Acme. It's my birthday month.
I don't love Zia. Sorry if you do.
I just pulled out the birthday month at that point. I was like, it's my birthday month. We're not doing Zia's. And so while we were there, she was asking these for my birthday, and she said they won't be until August 10th. And I was like, well, you can go ahead and say them. And then we were laughing because everybody was filming it because it was just funny.
Did she turn bright red?
No. Actually, Sarah Rochelle's comment was that she was entirely too comfortable saying it. And I was like, funny. Wait, this is the kid that at 18 months was like, oh shit, I left my shoes. Just totally appropriate, but 18 months old.
Yeah.
So, but we digress. But my pens are also very handy when I'm frustrated over tech at work because I swap my pens depending on my mood. So you generally, if you come in and you see what pen it is, you generally know what my mood is from that.
Yeah.
But I think another thing for us is also that when we are backed into a corner with tech and we find out say in the instance of images, I was like, at that point it wasn't an outage, it was just something that was happening with OpenAI. So I was like, let me think this through, and I basically created a skill to make images, and that tends to be, I think, one of kind of my superpowers. Is it's when people are like, okay, this is frustrating. And so when I made the skill, The problem was like we make images in batches here, so it generates them like in a batch. And the batches weren't working.
And just to clarify, the batches can be anywhere from 4 to 10 images at a time.
Yeah. And so for some people, it was making like a collage. And I was like, okay, so a couple weeks ago, I had everyone going to like their memories and give it like a core memory instruction to never give a collage. And I was like, and that kind of fixed it for most people. Mm-hmm. But like this week, it was doing a really bad job of like making a collage and also like making them very inconsistent with the colorway.
Right.
Or even with like our style, because we don't use like stock photos. I have a lot of opinions about everything, but like,
right.
I have a lot of opinion about decorative images and the fact that we want our images to visually convey what's in the text.
Right. Usually we use mnemonic images.
Yeah. And we use like icons, or like we don't do a lot of people. It's like mainly like, how do I kind of categorize and put things into like categories and things.
Right.
And I was like, we were getting like weird images with like people. And I was like, it felt like part of the problem was the batch, but also part of the problem was having to like upload a whole bunch of sample pictures and then be like, no, pictures like this. And I was like, it's really annoying to have to upload 10 photos every time to say, make them match these pictures. And so when I was kind of researching, and I was like, okay, well, they came out with skills. Let me find out what a skill is, because didn't know at the time. And if you don't know, you can go on to Learner Journey Labs LinkedIn and check out our skills versus GPT learning experience that we built and we shared out this weekend. But I was like, let's look at skills. And so what I really liked about skills, and for context, I never make anything and use it the way it's supposed to be used.
Never.
I pretty much tend to break it and then like put it back together, and then I figure out like how I would want to leverage it. Mm-hmm. And so skills are they're advertised for repeatable processes, like where you consistently want to get the same output, which technically image generation really doesn't fit in that category.
No.
Because I want different images for everything. But the repeatable part is that I want them in the same colorway, I want them in the same style, and I don't want to have to put a giant prompt in for that to happen. Like, the shorter my prompt can be, the happier I am. And it's not a good task for a GPT or something, or an agent, because they don't tend to do well with images at all in the first place.
Right. We've been trying. The image issue has been going off and on for 18 months.
Yeah. Like there's just images are always a challenge. But like a GPT with a system prompt still doesn't get it because it's specialized to like this image that I want to make for this context.
Right.
And so kind of when I was looking at the skill this week, it was like, okay, I have a wild idea. I was like, what if I could load into the skill the example images? And the repeatable part could be that it generates the images, compares them to the examples, and then like gives me the output. And it does it in batches because I can give it more parameters and requirements and like package it differently. And so I kind of started experimenting with that. And we have people of varying levels of comfort on the team with technology. And I think one of the talking points as we were talking about this episode is we have some people that are very nervous about tech. And every time you introduce new things, it's difficult.
Right.
And
when you first said, I created a skill or I made a new skill, and I thought you literally had like come up with a hobby. Like when you said it and how you said it, like that it was a hobby or you figured something out. I didn't understand that it was like a skill for the system. And it took me a minute to catch on to what you were thinking. And then I immediately thought it was like a GPT. And so when I started using it, I didn't realize that it had gone out, that it's like a one-shot prompt, or you have to call it in every single time.
Yeah.
And probably because I was multitasking. And then I was like, wait, I have to do this every time? Like, why can't it just be like a GPT and stay there? Until, like, why can't I just exit out when I don't want it anymore? And so that was my frustration with it, which is really just me being impatient.
Well, what's weird is I noticed today as I was using the skill for a different thing, I wrote a whole bunch of skills this week. It actually was still using the skill. So I think like that's probably a behavior that's coming. It's just that I think skills are so new right now. And I find that like providers tend to push things before they're actually ready for full consumption.
Yeah.
And I think like our account gets a lot of beta testing. So I don't even know how widely available skills are, especially at the level and the amount of information that I have been packing into them. Because I've basically been creating like little virtual machines of things like with tons of files, kind of like how you train agentic AI, where you've created this whole personalized space. But I kind of debated, like we had this conversation because I was like, okay, a skill is fundamentally very different from a GPT.
Right.
And it's very different from how we typically build. And I was like, I don't know that I want to share with everyone because I think some people might be uncomfortable with the pivots. Whereas like, I'm here for the pivot. Like if it adds something done better, like my brain is flexible and I'm just like, I will pivot however I need to. But that's not everyone's reality.
Right.
And I think that's a missing part of the recipe if you're going to be in this field of education with the technology evolving so fast. We have to find ways to get people more flexible.
Right. But I also think it's a good idea to have a core team or 2 to 3 individuals try out a new process because you get the people we have people in our team who are still trying to adjust to a tweak we made weeks ago. And they're still struggling. So then I was like, oh man, if she shares this, like they're just going to be even more frustrated. So it's nice to have a couple people try it out for a week or two before it goes.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we did because the part of the skill that I think is also difficult is it lives in everyone's separate account. So it's not something I can like push to everyone.
Right.
Whereas like when it's a GPT, I can push it to everyone in my workspace. But with this, I was like, okay, everyone has to get it. And so like I've been zipping packages and like making instructions. And so we kind of decided like, let's just try this out with like a smaller core team. Let's see how it works. Generally, I try everything as well. So like I had been using it for a day when I share it with everybody just to kind of make sure it was good. But it's going to be interesting because I've spent the past 3 days writing a whole bunch of skills because they're doing a much better job than the GPTs are at some of these really highly specific
Interesting
things that like when having it compare it to examples is important, it's doing it a lot better as a skill. So there's also going to be a point where I'm just going to have to tell the entire team, like, we have to be flexible. Skills just came out, yes, but also they're doing a better job and they're less frustrating.
Right.
Because like what I'm finding when I use the skill is I'm getting a better initial output. So it's a stronger place to iterate from than when I'm using a GPT. And when I use a GPT, we do use exemplars like we talked about last week, and we have it compare it to the exemplar. The difference is in the skill, it can do that before I ever see it. And so like just kind of as I've been thinking through this, it's like, you know, technology is great, but it's evolving so quick in our space that I think we all have to sort of be comfortable in gray.
Right.
And I think I'm always comfortable in gray. So that's part of why, like, you're the chaos coordinator, because I'll just jump on it and be like, woohoo, I'm here.
Right.
Everyone else pick it up or get lost.
And I'm usually helping the people who are lost.
Yeah. So, but I think that, you know, when images go down and you have to make a pivot, you have to make the pivot.
Right.
Like, I think that's the hard part is when something stops working, we have to find a workaround. And that the person that finds the workaround, I do think has to be the right person. It's like, we shouldn't have someone who's not comfortable spending 2.5 to 3 hours trying to troubleshoot that. Like, that's going to be something that sits with me or sits with, hopefully Twyla, one of our new people coming on board. She works with me at the AI lab, and she's just as techie as me in a lot of ways. So like, you have to go to the right person, but there are going to be changes because we can't predict when things are going to push to providers that are it's like when your phone updates, right? So like, yeah, we have, what is it the Apple thing does?
It tells you like it's going to do it that night, or you can do it right then.
Well, or like, and they'll give like, what is it, the twice a year like talks where they'll this is what we're coming out with. But like, then you update your phone and like you wake up the next morning and it's all different. You know, but if you're like me, because I have auto updates on because I don't want to be bothered with it. But like, I'll open my phone and I have to figure out like what this update did.
Right. Or they can tell you something's coming and then it doesn't come for like the third or fourth update. Because, you know, there's always like a week or two later, there's an update to the update. And then sometimes they slowly release things, because I remember your middle child and I were really excited because you could create your own emojis. And he said it was going to come out. So, like, we both downloaded it, like, didn't wait till that night. We downloaded it during the day. And then, like, we couldn't do it. And after, like, trying a bunch of different things, we finally decided to Google it. And it was like, oh, that's not coming out until, like, November. And I was like, liars. Tim Cook, you lied to me. Because if you watch the keynote that it said, it made it sound like it was going to be there. And I was very sad because I wanted to create random emojis.
Yeah, but those are things that I think that, like, in this space, it's going to have to become a part of our company culture, is that we can't control when these updates get pushed. And just like there's an update to the update, every time Claude or Gemini, every time they push something, it breaks something else. And then like there's a pivot, and then there's another update to the update. And then, like, I don't know, the one that they threw at me was I actually contacted support over the weekend because I lost the ability to make images at all Friday and Saturday. And, like, when I was like, if this is not working at all, that's when I was like, I'm opening a ticket, buddy. So, like, I opened my ticket. It was a whole mess. OpenAI's customer service, y'all, leaves a lot to be desired. They were like, we need a screen recording of exactly what's happening. So I did a screen recording, and then it was too big to attach in the Google Mail because it takes forever to like do the image error. So then she's like, well, I can't see that. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do about that?
Right. That's a you problem, not a me problem.
So then I zipped it and sent it, and she's like, we can't open zip files. Lady, what do you want me to do? It's a 7-minute video.
Right.
So then I put it down to like 480p and like compressed it and sent it over. And she's like, oh, thanks for this. Have you tried clearing your cookies? And I wanted to like rage at the world. I was like, you get back with me 4 hours after I sent you my screen recording, and your response is, did you clear your cookies?
Be like, I'm going to clear somebody else's cookies here.
So then they got the response back from me. I've logged out and I've logged in because these are my standard type responses because I always get the idiot in the IT department. I was like, I've logged out and logged back in. I have 2 other accounts in my workspace. I tried both of those. None of them are working. I was like, I also cleared my cookies. I did it incognito browser, and I tried 3 other browsers. So it's not a browser issue. It's not an account issue. It's not a cookie issue. It's your issue. And so then we had like a couple more exchanges. And then she came back this morning and she's like, are you in the workspace or the chat workspace? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, at the top, you should see work or chat. And I was like, I don't have that at the top. And so she was like, oh. She's like, well, we're rolling out like a new UI. And so it's going to have a chat and a like a work. And I was like, why did you do that?
See, and that popped up for me like a week and a half ago. Because I think I logged out of my account, logged into one of yours where we have all the GPTs because they changed the setting. Mm-hmm. And so on all of our GPTs, we have it to where web searching is turned off. But someone using the GPT, suddenly it referenced Wikipedia and they were like, hold up. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, did I forget to check that box? Turns out, no, even if the box is checked, it's in people's personal settings. So that was a weird update as well.
Well, and that was a whole nother debacle if people got frustrated because we were like, okay, everyone has to go into your settings and everyone had to change it. And so some of the team that is less comfortable with the tech was like frustrated. And I was like, this is the job.
Right. Unfortunately. So yeah, we had that debacle. But then when I logged back in after checking the GPT, I logged back into my account and it was like work or chat. And I was like, and I have a personal account and my Learner Journey Labs account both tied to my Gmail. So me not truly thinking at the time, I'd also like to preface this that I was on the golf course watching my child working from a golf cart. So when I logged in and it said work or chat, I was like, I thought it really meant did I want my personal account or my work account?
Yeah.
That's how I took it. And I was just like, okay, because sometimes it'll ask a different way of like which account, like Sarah Fuselier or Learner Journey Labs. And I was like, oh, this must be the new way to ask which do I want my personal or that. And so I just clicked work because I had to go do something else.
Yeah.
And
which after talking to support, that's probably why your pictures were working this week.
Right. Because anytime I've logged in or logged out or it's popped up, I just hit work because I'm like, and I want to be like, why do you keep asking me this?
So, yeah. So essentially, this is what came. So she told me that I'm looking everywhere in my threads and I can't find it. And I think that's another frustrating way at how these providers do this is they roll it out slowly across accounts. Like there's no big push. So like my account might change before someone else's account changes.
Right.
And then like I have a different experience than them. And then we're trying to figure all this out. And I got the email about this at lunch today. And I was like, yeah, thanks a lot. This has been out for a while. Like, advance notice would have been good. Like,
right. And I just assumed I didn't say anything to anybody because I just figured it had to do with my personal and my work account. And I was like,
totally fair. Like, you know, so then I go in and then I'm like, so then I start a new thread because I'm like ranting at it. And it did ask me for the first time, it did have like chat and work. And so I was like, I don't know what to click. Like, I don't use my account. Like, I don't separate my personal from my work in that way. And I was like, so I asked it, I was like, what is the purpose of this?
Right.
Like, what is the purpose in having me click work versus chat? And it was like, well, the difference is that anything that's in chat mode is meant to be instant and fast. And anything in work mode is complex reasoning. And I was like, okay, but what if I'm in a thread and I selected chat, but maybe I'm trying to like meal plan and I've got like ingredients that I want to reuse. Like that's complicated. That's not like an instant answer kind of question. And it was like, well, you'd have to start a new thread for that and indicate work.
That's so dumb.
And I was just like, who does those types of settings? Like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I feel like that's one of those settings that is slowly going to just disappear. Like it's like we tried it. It didn't work. It's gone.
Yeah, hopefully. Exactly. So, I mean, I'm like, I don't know who did that, how they did it. And like, I was trying to figure out, like, I was asking it, I was like, do you keep the memories separate? Like, is it in separate memories or something? And it's like, no, it's like, I told it, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And literally OpenAI agreed with me. And it was like, you are absolutely correct. There is no reason to separate these types of things, especially because you could want something basic in a thread, then you could want something specific in a thread that's more complex. And so apparently in our existing threads, and we've kind of noticed this flickering for like probably a week because Caitlin's had this issue that like it'll just randomly go to instant at the bottom. And like instant doesn't work for anything we do.
Right.
And I've noticed it too. And so apparently, like what support explained was as this is rolling out your old threads, it's kind of like trying to suss out what to put them as. And
interesting.
So it can wind up changing like the model at the bottom. And I was like, why are we rolling out this kind of stuff before like
it's been tested extensively?
It's been tested, like,
or announced.
Yeah, tested, announced. So in addition to 5.6 Soul coming out last week, which changed all of our workflows,
right?
Then this happened, and it's like, you know, there's just going to be change. Like for people who don't like change, there's just going to be change.
And you have to be willing to pivot.
You have to be willing to pivot. You have to be willing to dig into it. And like, I don't contact support very much. In general, I tend to figure it out myself. But like with the images, I was like, okay, nothing I'm doing is working. Like I'm talking to it going, what do you mean? It's asking you to edit an image. I'm not asking you to edit an image. Like I'd kind of gotten to the end of my rope. And that's when I reached out to support, and I still sent them a message saying like, I don't have a workspace to choose from. So like, are all my threads invalid now because we've been branching?
Yeah.
Like from original threads. So like, am I gonna have to rebuild all of the threads that I've been branching?
Well, and I'm wondering, when you branch, does it stay working? Because I've been in work, and then we went to the top of one of my threads today that I had branched from, and there was nothing.
And see, these are the things that I feel like they probably haven't addressed.
Right.
Because like that stuff, user feedback would come in. Because like tech people, love them. They're great people. But they don't think about the everyday usage of it.
No.
So they're not going to think about, like, what about the person who branched?
Right.
Well, like, because, you know, in our job, once we get a thread set up and we really like that thread, we go up and we branch because I don't want to reset it up again. That's why I have a library of files in my GPTs. So that kind of negates a lot of it. And so it just kind of shows like we've had, I feel like really 3 or 4 weeks where stuff has just constantly been evolving and changing. And it's a place that I'm really comfortable with, but it's definitely a place that like I feel like there's some friction with the other team. And I even see it like, you know, when I'm going through LinkedIn today, there was a post from somebody who was mad about it. And I was like, look, like as much as I want to be super annoyed at OpenAI for pushing stuff, like, I also get it. Like, this is evolving so quickly. It's out of hand. Like,
I saw something recently that compared AI to the Industrial Revolution. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's actually a pretty good analogy because things are changing on the fly. I think they were talking more about, like, the bad side effects, like pollution and stuff. But, again, that was, you know, the Industrial Revolution was kind of the wild, wild west of assembly lines and manufacturing, and we're going through the same thing with AI.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think there's just going to be a real need of like, how do we train people to be flexible and to be flexible thinkers? Because I think it's going to be a skill that makes or breaks people.
I think so.
And it's like, you know, as a leader, I can't constantly deal with everyone's frustration about it. Like at some point, there's going to be a point where leaders are like, you got to get over it.
Right. It is what it is.
Yeah. And like, I have empathy for people to a certain point. It's only to a certain point. Then I'm like, I'm over it. But I think like that's been something that's kind of been swirling around in my head is like, how do I figure out? Because like, I think you're actually way more flexible of a thinker than like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like you're so it's like I need to figure out like what's that sauce? How do we make people flexible?
I think part of it, I just realized, what is like the serenity prayer? Like God, give me the strength to, you know, of course I lose my train of thought, but like basically it says, I need to help me let go of what I can't control.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. Like if I can't do anything, I can't do anything. Mm-hmm. And it's annoying and it makes me mad. But ultimately, like when Amazon Web Service, like that went down in earlier this year?
Yeah.
Late last year? Like that was really annoying. And I had no idea how extensive that was. Like Amazon Web Services was outside of Amazon. But like ultimately we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like I can't call up Jeff Bezos and be like, hey, get your, you know what, together.
Yeah.
Like we're at their mercy. And so I'm going to control what I can control and do what I can.
Yeah. No, I think that's super valid. So, I mean, I think like to wrap up today, you know, I think for people working in the space, like it is super valid to be frustrated. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen. I think that you are going to have things on the back burner that you can do. And when there's not something there, it just is what it is.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, I can't speak for every boss, but for me, like, let me know, is there something I can do? Because if not, I'm stuck. And then I'm just going to be like, yeah, so just, you know, go professional develop yourself or
order queso. That's our go-to when we're super stressed or frustrated.
Yeah, or order queso and like, or just maybe take a walk, take a lunch, like do something like that. Because I just think that if you just get super frustrated, it impacts everything, and you can't even focus on like the good parts of work.
Exactly.
So then I think the other thing to kind of wrap us up is really thinking about like, how can you personally be more flexible? Because that is going to be a requirement in the workforce.
Yeah.
And even if you're not the person who's executing the pivot, kind of like me, I think you have to get comfortable with saying like, okay, the process isn't really changing. So the process is really the same, but now there's like, I have to call a skill in instead of a GPT.
Right.
Like I think you have to like learn to be okay with small changes like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then just roll with it.
Right. And I think going back to me and becoming more flexible, like a lot of times I get really stressed out because I think it's going to be a huge change. And then I do it and I'm like, oh, this is like just like calling in a GPT. So it's not that big of a change.
Yeah.
I think some people stress about the change and build it up to be more than it is.
And I think it can be hard, right? Because like you don't get as into the weeds with like things, but you also trust me. You're like, when Brandi says we're going to do a skill and it's going to be fine, like we're going to do a skill and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And I think some people don't have that same level of like trust. It's like, we're recognizing that like I'm not going to give you something that's not going to work for the most part. So I think that's kind of another key element of it. But I think that like these are the things we're going to have to tackle to stay relevant in the workforce. And that's not just for educators. I think that's really for everyone, because this type of tech is just so pervasive at this point that there's really no escaping the fact that we all have to be more flexible and we all have to have something that we can do. Because like when AWS goes out, or when Cloudflare was out the other day for like 45 minutes and it broke Airtable and all kinds of stuff. Like when Claude was down, like when it's down, it's just down. And they have to either have like, what else can we do? Or like go professional development yourself, because those are great alternatives when you can't actually do something. So thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear what you or your company is doing with these types of rapid pivots and how you might be tackling changes in the workflow as the technology is literally evolving at light speed.